Hello everyone, this is Joe at the National Weather Service in Billings. I wanted to take a quick look at our recent cold spell, which really ran from about a week into December through the middle of January. I'll start with some statistics. We showed this table on Facebook the other day. Over the 39-day period from December 6th through January 13th, temperatures averaged out in the single digits and teens across the region, which ranked in the top 5 coldest on record at each of our 4 main climate stations. For Livingston, it was the coldest on record. Also notice that temperatures fell below zero on more than half the days at Miles City and Sheridan. In terms of snowfall, it was obviously quite snowy. Everyone remembers our big storm in mid-December. And Billings set a record for most snowfall during this period of time, with 26 inches more than normal. Interestingly, despite these very cold numbers, we broke only one daily record during this stretch, and that was the low of minus 27 at Livingston on December 17th. It was persistently cold for sure, but other than the Arctic surge on December 17th, we did not see what I would consider extreme cold for midwinter. Taking a look at temperatures across the entire country, here are temperature departures from normal from mid-December to mid-January. You can see that it was the Pacific Northwest and Northern Rockies that experienced well below normal temperatures. The South and East were actually pretty mild. So why was it so cold in our region? The first thing I'll mention is the weak La Nina that exists in the tropical Pacific Ocean. Now, La Nina does historically favor colder and wetter winters across the northern Rockies, but it is a weak episode this time, and it's just not realistic to point to one thing and say, that's the reason. So, although La Nina is definitely a factor, it's not all that's going on. So let's take an even broader look. The graphic on the top left represents an average flow pattern at the mid-levels of the atmosphere during November, and the top right represents the departure from normal of what we might call mid-level heights. The bottom are the same fields, but averaged from mid-December to mid-January. They're very different. If you recall, November was very warm for us, and that's because we had a persistent high pressure aloft and flow off the Pacific. That changed dramatically in December. The pattern shifted to one that kept northerly flow dropping out of Western Canada, so it was much colder. At the same time, Pacific moisture was able to override the cold air to produce snowfall at times. Weather patterns like these can lock into position for lengths of time, and this pattern certainly more or less persisted for about 6 weeks. Were there any signs that this could happen? The answer is actually yes. These are sea surface temperature anomalies or departures from normal across the globe. I have highlighted part of the North Pacific. This area was quite warm in October, but started to cool by November. Note the blue colors emerging here, thanks to a steady flow of cold air from eastern Siberia, which was cold and snowy in the fall. By early December, you can see how cold this part of the North Pacific became. I believe that this impacted the Pacific jet stream, shifted it to the south, allowing for cold air to build over western Canada and spill into the northwest part of the United States. It is interesting for us to see these changes over time and how they impact weather patterns. I should also point out that our weather pattern turned cold and snowy in December, when days are shortest. When we acquire a deep snow cover in December, it is much more likely to stick around longer due to the low sun angle. Snow cover also has a significant impact on our temperatures, keeping them on the colder side even when the weather pattern itself looks warmer. So the timing was perfect in this case. Looking ahead, although the Arctic air has exited for now, conditions do favor colder and wetter than normal for our region through the remainder of winter. Will we have another big snow event? More surges of Arctic air? That's impossible to say with certainty right now, but as we all know, it is only January, and we have a lot of potential winter left. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please continue to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.